All right, hey boys and girls, welcome back, and I am going to do day 4 of writing with you guys. So here we begin. All right, writing week 7, day 4, 3.11b. I can edit drafts using standard English conventions. My letter writing checklist and parts of a letter checklist. I'm going to make sure I'm using this while I use cubes and arms for revising and editing my paper so that I can check things off to be sure I am following all of the expectations for 3rd grade friendly letter writing. All right, today we're going to edit and revise our letters. A, we're going to use arms and cups just like we have in the past. A, to add words or sentences. R, to remove unneeded words or sentences. M, to move sentences or words around. S, to substitute words or sentences for others. And then you're going to edit. C, capitalize names, places, titles, and months, and I. U, usage, which is to match nouns and verbs correctly. P, punctuation, periods, commas, question marks, quotations, or exclamation points. And S, spelling. Check all of your words. Use a dictionary. So here's my letter. September 25th, 2020. Dear Mrs. Strasbaugh, how are you doing? Would you like to know about what we learned in class today? In my class, we read an interesting article called Seeing with Sound. This article was very interesting to me. I learned about a long-eared bat and how it can swerve when it flies to avoid branches and leaves. This is helpful because it allows a long-eared bat to chase its prey. All right, so I know there's a lot of things I need to fix, and I like to use 2 different colors. I like to use green to revise or to edit and red to revise. So red is, remember, I'm going to go back. Red is to add words, move words around or sentences, and substitute. So using red, I know that I have to, let me grab my pen again, to add words around or move things and make sure it's all revised really well. So adding words or sentences. I'm going to see if I have to do that. Let's see. How are you doing? Would you like to know about what we learned in class today? In my class, we read an article. This article is very interesting to me. So this article is very interesting to me. It's kind of boring. So I'm going to add some words next to it. And I think I'm going to have to. So in order to add some words around there, I'm going to create a text box, but you can just add it to yours yourself. So I'm going to do a text box, and if I can get one. Okay, this article was very interesting to me. I think we need to say something more than just something boring like that. So I'm going to say, learning about long-eared bats gave our class so much to think about when the sun sets and all of the long-eared bats come out to play. Because I think that is so much more interesting than that it's just interesting. Does that make sense? All right, so going back, because I like to go back to mine. Remove unneeded words or sentences, so I did that. Move sentences or words around. I don't really think I have to move anything around, so I'm going to skip that one. And substitute words or sentences for others. This is helpful because it allows the long-eared bat to chase efforts. I think this is pretty well. Okay, so I'm going to move on into editing. Capitalize. So remember, I'm going to do green to edit. So make sure I have all my words capitalized. So I'm going to use my drawing tool and I'm going to use green, and I know dear needs to be capitalized. So I'm going to make a big D because it needs to be capitalized. And then I know Mrs. Straw's ball needs to be a capital M and a capital S. Okay, Mrs. Strasbaugh, how are you doing? Would you like to know what we learned in class today? Oh, that I needs to be capitalized. In my class, we read an interesting article called Seeing with Sound. So remember, Seeing with Sound is the title of our story, so I need to be sure that's capitalized too, the S's. Remember, I took that one out, so this one's good because I fixed it. I learned about a long-eared bat and how it can soar when it flies to avoid branches. This, I need to capitalize that T because it's the beginning of my sentence, because it allows the long-eared bat to chase after its prey. Sincerely, oh, my name, silly me, I need to make sure it's capitalized. Okay, capital M, capital V. So now I'm going to go back and I'm going to see what U is. Match nouns and verbs correctly. Well, all my nouns and verbs were correct, and so I'm good there. But if yours are not, please be sure that they are. Then we're going to do P, punctuation. So, dear Mrs. Strasbaugh, I forgot that comma. So I'm going to make sure I'm going back to my checklist. I have chosen the following by my name and a comma, okay? I have an opening and remembered my comma. I included my date. The body has some questions. I asked her, how are you doing? Now I'm working on my word wall and capitalization. Oh, I did all of my capital letters. Sorry, I made my word wall and punctuation. We all make mistakes. All right, so punctuation. How are you doing? Question mark. Would you like to know what we learned in our class today? Question mark. In my class, we read an interesting article, Seeing with period. I learned about a long-eared bat how it can soar when it flies branches, period. Chase after its prey. Sincerely, oh, gotta get that comma, Mrs. Vasquez. All right, great job. Now I'm going to go with my S, making sure I spelt my words correctly. Now I remember in my other piece, my other writing, that there were some words that I wasn't sure of. Now is my time to fix it. So I'm going to cross them out with my green, and then I'm going to write the words on the side. How are you doing? Would you like to know what we learned in class today? In my class, we read an interesting article. I know those were not spelt right because I wasn't sure. So now I'm going to write them correctly on the side. Interesting. And then, all right, it's making it capitalized. So I'm going to make sure that's not. And I. Okay, so I'm going to make those in green because I know I'm using my editing tools. Okay, this article was very interesting. I learned, oh, that is so silly, Miss Vasquez. It is not learnt. It is learned, ED. We've learned about those EDs. So let me go ahead and cross that learnt out. And it's learned. It is learned, ED. Remember that ED ending. Whoops, I'm being faster than my computer. Sorry, computer. Learned, ED. All right. Learned about a long-eared. Gotta add that ED. I'm just going to draw it in there. ED, learned. Long-eared bat. And how it can swerve. That's not how we spell swerve. I remember. It's SWERED. Sorry. I was looking where I was putting my thing. SWERVED is swerved. Not swerve like that. I forgot that E in there. When it flies to avoid branches, I gotta add that ES in there. Branches. Remember, there's not just one branch when they're flying around. It was more than one. We have to make sure we're using all of our words correctly and make sure it makes sense. And if it doesn't, then you need to fix it. ES. Anleys. This is helpful because it allows the long-eared bat to chase. Sneaky E. Mrs. McElhatton taught me that after it spread. Sincerely, Mrs. Vasquez. All right, we did it. We did our red for revising, and we did our green for editing. Now it's your turn. Revise and edit your draft. Be sure to use red for revise, green for editing. Upload a photo of your letter with all of your hard work. I cannot wait to see it. Great job.